Hello my friends, welcome to another video here on the Boring Dow YouTube channel. And today we want to have a look at the NFT space, how you can participate in this Web3 community, not get rocked, and perhaps or maybe even make a profit from it. Now before we get into it, just a quick disclosure. A lot of this video is based on an article that Jonathan Keenan has been writing on Medium. He's one of our Boring Dow members, and I thought it would be a great topic to make a video about. But if you want to read in depth, then the article is linked below. So let's get into today's video and just start real quick with what are NFTs. I think most of you know what it is, but for the ones who don't, NFT is a non-fungible token, so it's not exchangeable. Each one is unique. That means if you think about Ethereum, for example, one Ethereum is exactly the same as another Ethereum, and you can exchange the two and you still have one Ethereum. It's exactly the same, no difference. That's not the case with NFTs, right? If you exchange one Bored Ape with another Bored Ape, then you know the difference because there is another ape that you own now, right? And they can have also different values. Basically NFT is a technology to make immutable ownership, to prove your ownership. And this can literally be linked to anything. In this case, we're mostly talking about digital arts and collectibles. It's the one that gained the most attention from the public, but it has also a lot of other use cases, right? It's widely adopted as lands in the metaverse, as gaming items, so characters, in-game items, and all that stuff. All the ownership can be linked with NFTs, right? And in the future it could go much further. We could link music to NFTs, so we could have entire platforms like Spotify running on the NFT technology, and basically the artists own their music as an NFT. And even real estate, right? The house you own, it could be proved on the blockchain that you own this house via the NFT technology. So this could literally be linked to anything, and who knows where this technology might be going, where it might get us in the future. But for today's video, we want to focus on where the NFT scene is right now, and that's mostly the digital art and collectibles and how you can participate in this scene. So the question is, why would you engage in NFTs? Well, NFTs have big advantages compared to the traditional art markets for the creator as well as for the consumer. Now for the creator, you have a direct way to engage with your fan base, so you're literally eliminating the gatekeepers, and thus as a creator you get a bigger share of the profit. And for the long term, right, as you have those royalties, you can as a creator create a relatively stable income. If you look for example at Adam Bomb Squad, they likely earned in excess of $1.3 million based on the 2.5% fee on the 19,700 ETH of volume that it got traded. So you can see, just once the project was out there on the secondary sales, this project still generated a lot of profit. So that's why it's very interesting for the artist. It's not like the traditional art, then once it's sold and people sell it and make the secondary sales, you're not really gaining anything from it. And then for fans, they can directly support their favorite artists, which is obviously great. And then they can also enjoy the art in a community setting, right? If you think about those NFT projects, they all have discords where the people that love that art, that enjoy that art, can interact together and really build a community. And then obviously the one thing that got the most attention are the huge possible gains, right? We have heard about how much money some people made on Bored Apes, on CryptoPunks and all those projects, right? So there are huge possible gains. Now, if we look at the NFT market as a whole, we can just see that how it has literally been exploded out of nowhere, right? It started all early 21, right? In 20, we didn't have any NFT trading volume, as you can see, or barely any. It's not visible here. And we went quickly up to almost 250 millions already in January. And then we went to over $1 billion in the big hype at the top of the peak that we had in September. And ever since, the market has been coming off a little bit. We had a second big stage of hype in December. You don't really see it in the volume as much, but if you have been looking what's happening in the space, you saw a lot of famous people like musicians, athletes entering the space, launching their own collections, collaborating with collections, and you saw famous brands like Nike, Adidas, Dolce Gabbana entering the space, also with collaborations, or some launched their own collections. So especially in December, we saw this huge adoption of new but famous names coming into the space. And a lot of people talked about the bubble then, and we saw that the price really declined all the way through 2022. And now, if you see the tail end of the second chart in April, we are actually building up more volume again. So the market seems to be rising a little bit again, at least this month. And we can see, if you look at the chart, and we have heard it earlier on, the huge possible gains that some people made. So there is suddenly a lot of money in this space, right? At the moment, we're still at around 250 millions of weekly trading volume. That's a huge amount of money that's getting traded in the NFT space. And obviously, when there is a lot of money, there also coming the bad actors. So there is a lot of risk in the NFT space of things that can go wrong and how you could be scammed or lose money. And basically there are 4 different ways that can happen, right? We have the pure scams. We heard it a lot, like on OpenSea, people clicking on phishing links and their NFTs getting stolen. People giving their seed phrases to fake MetaMask supports, and then they get stolen. So just never ever give your seed phrase to anyone, anywhere, it doesn't matter. Never ever give your seed phrase away. You should, if you do that, you should stay pretty safe in terms of scams. Also, don't click any phishing links. Be very careful with what you click on. Then we have smart contract exploits. Now, artists, they aren't coders usually, and it's a lot of money, right? And there are holes. Even OpenSea got attacked. So this can sadly always happen in the crypto space. And we have been talking last week about the bridges, and unfortunately NFTs are not safe from hacks and those kind of exploits. Then we have rug pulls, and we kind of really have to talk about rug pulls and pure execution / stupidity in one thing here together, because it's very hard to distinguish the two. Basically what's happening is the projects, they promise a lot that they will do with the community, use cases that come in the future, and then the project mints, people buy the NFTs, and then there is nothing coming. And sometimes that was on purpose, and the team never planned to do anything. They just took the money, and once they had the money, they were happy and they just left. That would be a rug pull. And then often the team had actually good intentions, but they're just not capable of delivering. They fuck up what's happening later on, and then that's why nothing happens, and it can look like a rug pull. So you don't really know if it was bad intention or if it was just stupidity, but the result is the same in those two cases. Now, how can you stay safe and maybe even make profit, right? The first thing that you have to know is that is a huge risk in this space, that a lot of the collections go to zero, right? People have been talking about the bubble for an eternity. So many projects are launching, and in the end, it's most likely that only very, very few of those projects will survive and build big brands, become famous, and most of them, they will be just another JPEG that's not really worth anything, right? And so if you want to find the gems, then there are 4 key themes that you should look out for. And one we already talked about it real quickly is the digital brand, the identity. And you can think about it, how many streetwear brands are out there that you're not willing to pay anything for, right? But people are willing to pay a lot of money for a rare pair of Air Jordans. And that's just because of the brand. It's not that the Air Jordans are necessarily better shoes than other competitor shoes, but they have the much better brand. And that's the same with those NFT projects, with those, especially with the profile pictures, right? You have those profile pictures on your social media, on your Twitter, as kind of a flex, and you can only flex with something that has a good brand. So there will be a few projects that become luxury brands in the NFT space, and those are the valuable brands, and all the others, well, they will probably not make it. Then another really important thing is the team, right? we talked about before, there is just a lot of teams that fail to deliver on their promises. So you need to have a capable team behind it, a team that's motivated, passionate about going on, that even when they made a lot of money off the mint, that they still keep working on the project. So teams that are really in it for the project and not just for the quick money. Then the community. There is no brand without the community, right? It's the community that makes the brand. It's the community that builds the tribe, that brings the word out. So you need a strong community. And then the fourth part is the utility. That's more the case if we look at the gaming, music, or other industry. With a profile picture, yeah, we also saw utilities like partnerships that then yielded that like rare merge or anything. So there is utility as well in the profile pictures, and that can also obviously be a big plus. Now the question, as I said, are we in a bubble? Well, the NFT market, it has its up and down trends, and like with any other financial markets that goes up and down, it's very hard to predict where this is going. And then you also have to know that NFTs are among the riskiest assets, even in the crypto space. And in times of fear and uncertainty, those risky assets tend to suffer first. And that's what we saw early on this year, when there was a lot of FUD going around, stock market going down, crypto market going down, and you could see the trading volume on NFTs got absolutely wrecked in that time as well. But now in April, things seem to stabilize and seem to be rising again. So maybe the bottom was already in March. We don't know. As I said, it's up and down trends. We cannot predict the market, or not certainly say where the markets is going. Can make some prediction on educated guesses, I guess. And then this all comes back to if that in the long term, those early NFT brands with the best founders, with the best community, they are poised for tremendous success and become high profile digital brands of the future. So if the price going down in the short term and you believe in the future of those projects, of their brands, then it's like buying a coin. If it dumps, it's a way to cheaply accumulate, right? But you need to believe in those projects long term, and as we have established, a lot of those projects might be going to zero because the competition is so high and the value that they offer is literally only the brand. So if they don't have that, they might go to zero, and therefore it's obviously risky. But if you find the right ones, well, even in a downturn, it can be a good investment. And how do you find those brands of the futures? Well, you have to familiarize yourself with the team and the community by being active in their discords. Just see are they cohesive, or are they constantly pushing the floor price, which would be like a big red flag, right? Are they collaborative, talking about how to improve the project? Are they interacting with the community? How are they interacting? Are they responsive, or do they just push fishy updates all the time, right? Those are the kind of questions you have to evaluate for yourself when you're in that Discord. And then, a lot of those projects, they are already quite expensive. I mean, Bored Apes cost an arm and a leg, but there are some promising, also cheaper projects, I'd say. But for investors with a smaller bankroll, they could focus more on finding GameFi projects, because that scene is much more in its infancy than the whole profile picture brand NFT industries already is. And another thing is, you don't necessarily need to participate in the mint. You can wait for the good projects to crystallize themselves out and then jump in on those while they are still cheap before they completely explode. And then also you need to invest the time necessary. NFTs are not a quick money scheme. They are not, you don't get in, buy a couple of JPEGs and be a millionaire. To find the right JPEGs to mint, you need to, or to buy, to mint, you need to invest a lot of time, a lot of due diligence. And then the last thing I would say is take profits. It's a mistake I see a lot. People think like, they think about these huge gains that we, for example, had on the Bored Apes. So now they get an NFT, they make a 4x, a 5x, and they are refusing to sell it because they're like, oh, this could be the next Bored Apes. And then the NFT starts to go back down again and they lose their gains. So also be happy at some point, take your profits, move on and find other projects, or at least sell a part of the NFTs that you bought from that project and keep a moon bag of one or two of the assets, right? Take your profits when they are there. That's always an important strategy, not only in NFTs but in crypto in general, I'd say. And then to close this out, I want to end it with the words that Jonathan as well used to end this his article, and it's, I believe NFTs act as the greatest gateway drug to the world of crypto. The more users we can safely onboard using them, the more community we build. And that's something I can absolutely second. I was at a lot of crypto events, at a lot of conferences, and when you are at the NFT events, you see that the demographic is very different. You have a much wider demographic. You have a lot more women as well. So that shows us that NFT really is something that helps the crypto space as a whole to adopt people, to get more mainstream, and that's why they're extremely valuable for the entire space. And we should do our best to educate people and to make sure they can stay safe so that they embark with us in the Web3 journey. So that's it for today. If you enjoyed today's video, please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. And as I said, if you want to get deeper into this, if you want to read the entire article, check out the link below. Thank you so much again for tuning in. Have a great day. Peace out.